Hey, you made a great pick. In revisiting this album, I really liked it. And one of the things I like is that, around here, I don't know if it's the same there in Texas because they are from there. But, around here, people think that, Cowboys was the first Pantera album.
Yeah, right. No, I think a lot of people did too.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people did too, man. I never heard of this album or any of the other ones before. Fuck, man, 98, 99 until it showed up on Napster. And I was like, what the fuck?
So you have the other. So you have the 4 previous albums then.
Well, I don't have them. I don't have physical copies of them, but I've heard them. I Am the Night, Metal Magic, and Projects in the Jungle, and then no, I listened to them when I was a kid, man. I got into Pantera, mid 90s, 90, whenever Great Southern Trendkill came out. We ended up listening to it in the fucking locker room in junior high during a football game. We listened to fucking we listened to Great Southern Trendkill, and I guess it was Roots, Bloody Roots, or whatever by Sepultura. And I'm like, what is this fucking beautiful noise, man? I'd never heard it before. Yeah. And everybody's like, I say everybody. There's like 2 people. The upperclassmen are like, this is Pantera. You never heard of Pantera? I'm like, well, I've heard of them, but I didn't know, what the fuck was going on. And I was just fucking hooked, man. Yeah.
And I think one of the great things I like about you choosing this one is that you can really hear, to me, the transition of them going to a different direction.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I still laugh every time though when I hear Phil singing these high notes.
Yeah. Well, I guess
Lord knows.
Lord
knows he couldn't do it today.
Oh, I know. Yeah, he's got that deep register about it. Because, this is part of it. It's like anybody that's a Pantera fan, I think just by association alone, they like these albums, even though it doesn't resonate with, Cowboys, Vulgar, fucking Far Beyond, Southern, and fucking, they're completely different worlds.
Sure.
But they are good, and it's a great kind of precursor to the maturation that became Pantera. Even like in between this album and Cowboys from Hell, it's like it's 2 totally different fucking worlds, but you do see the influences and everything.
Sure.
And you see how even these Dunn was born in 66, so he would have been 22, 23 when they did this album, and how synced up he and Vinny were with Rex, and of course Phil, he was the newcomer at this time. But how synced up that they were, and just how full of fucking energy. And I just listened to it, and I'm like, a lot of my notes say energy, ripping, shred, so
right.
Oh my God, his fingers, he was creating his sound at the time.
And the thing is with me too is, Rex is more prominent on these albums than he was in the later material. He shined on
for sure.
And he was a great force. And I mentioned, as I'll probably be mentioning as many times as you mentioned about the leads, about the drum playing on this album, because I think the drum playing on this album is fucking stellar.
Yeah, and it's funny you're saying that, because just because I'm a guitar player and I've always been a Dimebag guy. I've always been a Pantera guy, but like specifically Dimebag fucking Daryl, I always pay attention to his stuff more, but there's no denying that Rex is just thunderous on the fucking bass. And Vinny had his technique and his slap.
Yeah.
Vinny's a hard-hitting guy. Vinny doesn't have a lot of dynamic. Honestly, none of them really do. It's 1 to 100,
Sure.
It doesn't, it is what it is, and they've always been hard-hitting. And Vinny doesn't, he doesn't just casually smack. He pounds the shit out of them fucking drums, and this album's no exception.
So, Ben, what are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing Power Metal, released, June 24th, 1988, by Pantera.
Ooh yeah! Ooh yeah!
And Pantera, what does that mean in Spanish?
What does Pantera mean in Spanish? It means big cat.
Panther. Yes, indeed.
Panther. Sorry. Panther. I got a baby panther out there in the hallway.
Heck yeah.
What a memorable fucking band name too. Like, I mean, because I
Yes.
think they were from like what Pantego, Texas, whatever,
Mhm.
and so that kind of tied into it also. Whatever. It's a good name, man. And can I tell you something before we actually start that people are
Sure.
when I was younger and starting guitar, I had I ended up my first electric guitar was a Washburn Shadow Series WS7, I think was the model number. Tobacco burst, beautiful. My dad told me he'd buy me any guitar I wanted, um, if I could learn to play Hotel California. And this was about 94, 95.
Oh wow.
And because I knew the only guitar brand I knew at the time, because I kept seeing Dimebag in fucking Hip Parader magazines
Oh yeah.
and Circus magazines and Guitar World and all that shit back in the day, was Washburn. So that's all I knew. I knew he played a Dean, whatever, prior to that, but Washburn was pretty prominent in the 90s because of him.
Sure.
But I hated Pantera. And I hated Dimebag, and I couldn't stand seeing them because that was all they talked about. And then, of course, at the time, I was listening to fucking Oasis and Nirvana and Bush and Smashing Pumpkins. I still listen to. I love Pumpkins, whatever. But I was just kind of going, finding my place in the world and music and everything. And I actually used to not like Pantera, man. And admittedly, and wow, man, like we were talking about, the first time I really got to sit and listen to him, it was Drag the Waters. And
Oh wow.
I was fucking hooked, man, from there on out. I've lived the life of Dimebag to a degree and wanted to emulate him as much as I can. And I love the guy. Never got to meet him, got to see him, luckily. But I love Pantera. There's always, always, always going to be a special place in my heart for those four guys and the crew that surrounded him. Whatever. I watch a lot of Grady Champion videos. His guitar tech. And I actually watched one the other day when he was doing one with Dean Zelinsky about the new guitars that they're about to come out with. That Dean Zelinsky is going to release some of the models that Dimebag had. The Culprit, the CP 2003 that he had back in, I think, 98. And they only released like 250 of each. And they're going to come out with a bunch of his other models and stuff. But anyways, that's just me yapping. I'm getting excited thinking about it because this is such a good fucking album, man. This is a blitzkrieg of a fucking album.
And it starts out with Rock the World. And I think this album really starts out with a great anthem and a great riff. And upon hearing the review of this album, one guy that reviewed this song said something that really resonated with me and I think is very true. The lead on this album is like a Texas barbecue. It's spicy and fucking juicy. And the drums on this track is also excellent as well.
Oh yeah, fucking it's at the time, whenever people were listening to it, they had no clue what they were listening to. Listening to it, almost 40 years later, 35 years later, it's the unmistakable signature trademark sounds of Vincent and Daryl and Rex. And even one of the things I'll continuously talk about during this album is the guitar tones. I'm a guitar player. The guitar, I personally don't care for Dime's guitar tone and from Cowboys Up. It's crushing, it's great, but it's not something that I would, it works for him and it sounds great, but it's nothing I would ever use. I could not find what he actually used on these albums. And just from the first note, come right out of the fucking gate, man.
Sure.
And unmistakable Dimebag fucking Daryl. And it's fun. It's like looking back at an old picture book and seeing, a younger version of just something that you're in love with and just seeing them blossom. It's awesome, dude.
And then we go on track 2, which is the title track, Power Mill. And upon listening to this track, the first thing that came to my mind was, man, this band in their early stages had to have been very influenced by Priest because it has that driving Priest background rhythm to it that just hooks you straight in. And then it never lets up. You think you're going to come to a chorus and things are going to change pace, and it just keeps kicking your teeth in. And I love this track. It's a great track on the album.
Yeah, dude. My teeth actually got kicked in listening to it. I did get Priesty vibes from this album. I mean, there's no doubt, Priest was one of their big influences, from especially Phil. That was one of the things I had about this track was Phil doesn't sound the same in this versus Cowboys versus the rest of the catalog.
Sure.
But he's very impressive nonetheless. I mean, his range is good. You even hear his deep guttural stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
Throughout this album, whatever. But mainly it's the higher 80s registers. One of the things about this, I mean, the song's goofy. Let's be honest. Every song on this is kind of goofy. But there's no doubt that those guys are, just like I was saying earlier, there's no doubt that these guys are just super synced up.
Sure.
And, oh, yeah, I forgot fucking Pantera collaborated with Priest on Light Comes Out of Black with Halford, man.
Yeah. And then we come in track 3, which is We'll Meet Again. And if I was to pick my first choice as a single to release from this album, it'd be this track. Because it pulls you in right from the start, and it has a classic melodic sense that will stick with you and stay with you. That's why I thought it'd been a great single. One of 2 that I felt that could have been released or should have been released from the album.
Yeah, it's very single material. It's like I said, all these songs are cheesy. Maybe not at the time they were cheesy. This is like 80 songs are good. We reviewed Racer X, and Racer X is good, kick ass, but it's cheesy by today's standards, whatever. But right out of the gate, with We'll Meet Again, fucking the reverse delay on the snare, the goofy ass chorus, but then it gets serious, man, during the solo, and that's a very, very fucking serious solo. It's probably my second favorite Dime solo, right next to his ripping and fucking Hard Lines and Sunken Cheeks from Far Beyond Driven. And man, it's just such a good, just poetic fucking song that he had a lot of emotion in when he was writing that. It's a good fucking track, man.
And then we go into 4, which is Over and Out. And this jumps back into another ripping track. It kicks on back in, gets you back involved into it. And this has a great chorus, and the change at 3 minutes in of tempo, and then again at 4.5 minutes in, just really fucking keeps you in the track and makes you wonder how we ended this song. And we come back to the original feel all over again. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Yeah, it's good. And this is one of the ones that I wrote that it had a very Priesty influence on it. Super energetic. Fucking. So one of the things I noticed, looking back in hindsight, there's bits and pieces hidden throughout, very subtle gems hidden throughout of more modern Dimebag riffs, whatever that would, the style and his trademark sound was really being developed intricately in some of these fucking riffs, man. I mean, the solo fucking launched on this fucking album too.
Oh yeah.
Master of the fucking Floyd Rose, man. His signature fucking legatos really shine on this fucking song, is just blazing, man. He was a kid when he fucking did this, a fucking kid, man. I'm so jealous, but I'm so glad, man, that I'm living in this era where I got to see this motherfucker kick this shit out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And, of course, it's a shame that we can't hear what he would do today,
Oh, man. Yeah.
And then we come into Proud to Be Loud. And here we come into another anthem-like song. And I can't help but feel that we reviewed this song before, where the end of side 1 was an anthem song again. And this was the case here. Proud to Be Loud is definitely an anthem song. And I think, as you thought the last track, I think the solo on this track really, really could have been something on Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, did you know that they didn't actually write this song? I remember my cousin Hal back in 2002 or whenever Donnie Darko came out. You ever seen Donnie Darko?
Yeah.
So next time you're watching Donnie Darko, there's a party scene where they're having this Halloween party when their mom and their mom goes to take Sparkle fucking Motion to the Dancing with the Stars or whatever with fucking Ed McMahon, and there's a scene. I guess it's right when I can't remember specifically what happens. Whatever. I guess they're like walking up a staircase and Donnie's gonna go bang his girl or whatever. You hear the song ripping, and I go, it's the unmistakable legato licks of fucking Dimebag, man. This is actually written by a guy named Mark Ferrari. And
You
it
know who
wasn't
Mark?
credited.
You know who
He
Mark
was a guitar
Ferrari
player for,
was in, right?
it was Kill, what, or
Keel, yeah. He was the lead guitarist
yeah.
for Keel.
Yeah, so well, it's funny that it wasn't credited to Pantera from that from the movie. It was credited to the Dead Green Mummies. I personally, it was a great song. It's a great song. I didn't feel like it felt like Pantera though,
Right.
but it still worked good on this album for the greater whole.
And then we go to Down Below, and which I think was a great opener for to open up side 2, because this takes us. It's almost like listening to the beginning of the album again. You come with a blasting track that gets you involved, and this one has to be great live, because when I heard this track, I envisioned them playing it live, and this was one that would definitely take the crowd and get them involved.
You know, I'm about 15, 20 minutes outside of Waco, Texas. I work in Waco, Texas. I've lived in Waco, Texas half of my life. And somebody out there that's watching can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain that these motherfuckers used to play here in Waco in the late 80s. I can almost prove that, I think. But there's a place here off of Valley Mills, what's called Valley Mills Drive. It's kind of the main strip in Waco. Ray Henning's Heart of Texas Music used to be off there. And there was I can't remember the place that they played. I want to say it's called the Basement or whatever. So I'm worried. I say I'm worried. I'm concerned that at some point in my life, I got to miss early Pantera in the fucking 80s, right down the fucking road from me. I know they played at Six Flags, so I love sharing this state with them, man. It's awesome.
And then we come into Death Trap. And by now you're thinking, how is this I'm not a national act at this point? Because upon listening to the album, and by the time you get to track 7, you're like, I cannot understand how this band has not got the exposure that they deserved. Because you listen to track.
I know how, but I can't say it on camera.
But this track has definitely a piece of riff mastery throughout. And the drums on this album are totally next level, and this track definitely shows it.
Yeah, you definitely see the influence, what Pantera would become in this song too. You hear it. I mean, his trademark style is like, it's right in the chrysalis, man. It's starting to fucking bloom and blossom and burst the fuck out. Well, Cowboys is good, but I like this one, man. This is the adolescent Pantera that was kind of, I think, unbridled. Cowboys was a good album in that it was very innovative and kind of still leached off the 80s sound, but these guys were still doing the 80s sound.
Sure.
Just like everybody else. You know what? I also picked out a lot of early fucking Def Leppard influence in these guys, On Through the Night.
Mm-hmm.
And Dimebag did an interview with somebody in 92. I can't remember who it is. I'll have to send it to you. It's a great fucking interview. He actually kind of gets pissed off when they start asking him about his all these other. They ask him about Eric Peterson and Marty Friedman and all these other guys, and he gets mad and he's like, "I really wish you wouldn't fucking ask me about other guitar players." But he credits a lot of his style to early Def Leppard, and I listened to it, I'm like, holy shit, it's fucking Def Leppard.
Yeah.
He's emulating these, Van Halen, Def Leppard, Kiss, all these guys, man.
Mm-hmm. And then we come on track 8, which is Hard Ride. And this song is Two Wheel Heaven. This would be another one to get on your bike, ride on, and this would be the soundtrack to it. I think this would have been my second choice as a single from this album.
It's got the 80s written all over it. Tastefully, of course, tastefully. I mean, like any of the other bands that came out of this era, we're all kind of doing the same thing. These guys were no exception. They were doing it very tastefully, and they were kind of putting their own spin on it. I mean, Dom was getting fucking more creative. Watching hearing his pinch harmonics and his squills mature along with fucking Vince's fucking drum riffs, man. This is a good fucking background party song. I would be smoking a doob somewhere with this blaring in the background of my fucking 87 Suburban, man, throttle body injected, dude, right by the fishing tank, partying. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to do.
And then we come into track 9, which is Burn. And
Burn!
This is another scorcher. The guitar in this track is all killer, no filler. And, and by the way, do not drive to this track. We have a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Don't drive to this track.
Yeah, we're not responsible.
But yeah, I love this track. This is another one of my favorite tracks on the album.
Fast fingers in this track. Holy shit, dude. Yeah. It's I will say, you know, towards this album doesn't like crescendo like a lot of their albums, you know, did subsequently. And I just don't think that they found their groove. No pun intended. I don't think they found their groove at this point yet. So the album kind of, I don't know if there were a crescendo, you know, Fucking Proud to Be Loud was probably it, and it kind of started tapering off. So this song for me, unfortunately, I love it front to back. It's kind of weak sauce, whatever. So I didn't really have a lot of stuff on it other than to just compliment, you know, the music itself.
And then we come to the final track, PST 88.
Tell us what it means, Bob.
I'm not telling you what this means. We will leave that open to interpretation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
But upon listening to this, I'm glad they put this as the last track because it doesn't really correlate with the rest of the album as far as I see it. It's a very fun song, and it kind of rang to me like SMF did for Twisted Sister. It was a track that didn't really fit on the album, but it's a great song, but it just didn't go with it. And I think the only place you could have put that track was last.
Yeah, it's unfortunately my least favorite track. The subject matter is I enjoy the subject matter. I mean, that's my profession, if I have to be honest. But yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly, man. I hate the fucking song. I'm not gonna lie, I hate the fucking song. But nonetheless, it's got really good riffs. It's not meant to be taken seriously, you know, at all. And they know that. You know, I hope it was supposed to be fucking ironic. It's to me, with Pantera, I like every Pantera song, with the exception of Good Friends and a Bottle of Pills. Cannot stand that song, and that's the only fucking Pantera song that I will hit skip from. I understand it, why they wrote it. I don't care. It just, in the Pantera lineup, it does nothing for me. And unfortunately, this album ended as a fucking dud, whatever. But it's still got really good leads, and he does really cool, you know, really cool badass fucking descending licks. And so as far as I'm concerned, Burn is kind of the end of it. And I just don't, I typically skip through this fucking track, but whatever. But for all intents and purposes for this little fucking review, man, yeah, it's, that's all I've got to say about this track.
So in my opinion of the album, I give this album an 8 out of 10. I think it really, the main thing that I get from this album is I invite everyone to listen to early Pantera to see the progression and the growth of this band. Too many people think the catalog started at Cowboys, and that's far from the truth. There's a lot of great music and a lot of great riffs that you are missing out on if you only go that deep. And
100%.
And you need to go back to the very beginning and follow the progression of this band. I mean, there's a reason why, even if you start at Cowboys, you know, all the way to Great Southern Treadkill, you hear the progression. The band has only gotten better with each and every album that it produced.
Yeah, it's I hate it's a honestly, if I think about it too much and drink too much, I'll get sad about it because it's a, you know, when I said at the beginning of this that I used to not like Dimebag, I mean, I really mean it. I used to, it's like, oh, I can't stand this guy. Fuck, why do they have him on everything? And then by the end of it all, he became a brother to me, and I never met him. And even my little brother, my little blood brother, you know, he ended up loving Pantera. And one of the hardest things that I've done as far as music was we went to his memorial, and you know, we were 20 feet away from where he should have been, and it sucked. It sucked. The you know, I got a call that morning. Man, so many people called me that morning, and I thought everybody was fucking with me. I'm like, what? You know, that's another subject altogether. But it's
Sure.
I tell you what, there will never be in the history of fucking metal another Pantera, any of them. Luckily, you know, Phil and Rex are still doing it. I don't like the new shit that they're doing. I think it's fun that they're carrying on the legacy and everything, but I have zero desire to go see him. It's not Pantera.
Right.
And it truly does, you know, my heart of hearts make me really, really fucking sad that what happened. You know, he was Dime drank a lot, and he was, you know, he was a boozer, man. And you know, I always wonder what would have happened if what happened didn't happen, and you know, would he have gotten fucking cirrhosis or some shit? And it's just kind of a weird turn of events that these seemingly fucking benign, you know, metalheads from fucking Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, whatever. This is what happened, and it just blows my fucking mind. And but with all that being said, I'm super glad to have been a part of the Pantera legacy and gotten to see him fucking live. And that was an experience that, you know, rivaled sex, you know, if you know, for some people. And I give this album. I'm gonna echo you on this, bro. It's a good 8 out of 10. And yes, more people should listen to early Pantera and appreciate it for what it was and what it would become.
Sure. And you know, we can all speculate, you know, well, how would Rose sound today? How would Hendrix have sounded later on? You know, we don't know. We can't you know, we can't say, but the proof is in the pudding. And if you listen to Pantera's catalog, the man only just amazed you more and more with each album, you know, and that's something you can't take away. You know, I think the sky was the limit.
I love these guys.
You know? Yeah. I'm glad you picked this album, my friend.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for letting me pick this album, bro.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna come out with a fucking pink beard and shit, of course. You know, my Cowboys from Hell, and I've got my, you know, Dimebag shit on my arm and stuff. I love these guys. You know, I love them. Dime's the reason that I'm fucking, you know, playing guitar and you know, still playing guitar, and I try not to emulate him too much. And I miss him. I miss him every day. I fucking miss him, and I can't believe this year it's been 20 years, man. You know.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's hard to believe it time goes so fast, man. You know,
yeah, and it happened in your neck of the woods too. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
Man. But I tell you what, I'm very thankful that these guys grazed my path. I'm glad to be from the same state. I'm glad to have gotten to see him, and I'm thankful for Pantera. You know, if this was Thanksgiving right now, I was about to bite into some fucking twice baked potatoes that my mom made or some shit. I'd be like, thank you, Lord, for Pantera, because I fucking love these guys, and God bless them.
Oh.
You know, and I remember they used to play clubs in Ohio all the time under the name Cowboys from Hell and not under the name Pantera. So they just had their true fans there.
Yeah.
They would do that all the time around my area, all the time.
Did you get to see him live?
In a small club, never in a professional setting.
Yeah, but that was probably the way to go, man. I mean, when I saw him in Houston, Texas in 2001. Man, I was good, ripe, fucking virginic, fucking 18 years old, man, and just nothing. I say that Sammy Hagar was pretty fucking good, but Pantera at 18 years old, I mean, that popped my fucking cherry, man,
Yeah.
and it was just awesome. I mean, you know, of course they were touring on Reinventing the Still, but I can't remember what they fucking ended with for the life of me. I'll Cast a Shadow is what they ended with, whatever. But I mean, they played Cowboy. I got to hear Cowboys from Hell live and part of Cemetery Gates, and all the fucking big songs and shit, whatever. My buddy Jared was with me at the time, and I don't think he listens to metal anymore. He's gone the country bumpkin route, whatever. But yeah, man. I mean, still to this day, 30, 40 fucking years later, I mean, these guys are just driving fucking nails, man. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.